time may have to start coming up with a different answer when asked about her personal email server. According to Reuters, at least 30 emails from as far back as 2009 contained, quote, foreign government information. And why is that important? Well, these emails have been retroactively deemed classified, allowing the Clinton campaign to keep claiming that Hillary Clinton did not send or receive any emails classified at the time. But according to Reuters analysis, regulations state that conversations between U.S. officials and their foreign counterparts must be presumed classified at that time, whether marked that way or not. A lot to talk about today with our political panel. Matt Schlapp is the chairman of the American Conservative Union. Leslie Marshall is a radio talk show host. She's a liberal. That's okay. And let's start with our Peter Barnes. Peter, tell us more about this Reuters report.
Well, hey, Dagan, it says that the State Department's own regulations on this matter, issued in 1999 and updated in 2009, are clear. All department employees, quote, must safeguard foreign government and NATO-restricted information securely, marking it as confidential, secret, or top secret to help prevent it from leaking out. State Department staff, including secretaries of state, received training on how to classify and handle sensitive information. In March, Clinton said that she was certainly well aware of classification requirements. As one former government record security official told Reuters, quote, it's born classified if a foreign minister just told the Secretary of State something in confidence. By U.S. rules, that is classified at the moment it's in U.S. channels and U.S. possession. Reuters reports that the unredacted portions of the emails appear to indicate information from a prime minister, a foreign minister, and several intelligence chiefs at least. Here's one from 2009 sent through Clinton's personal email account from an aide to her from a then British Foreign Secretary. The State Department has retroactively labeled the email as classified and redacted 5 pages of it. Dagan?
Peter, thank you so much for that. Let's move on to our panel, Matt and Leslie. Leslie, to you first. This is not going away for the Clinton campaign.
Well, I always said it wouldn't go away. I mean, this is what Republicans are hoping will be the swift voting of Hillary Rodham Clinton. But the reality is we have to look at, one, was there a crime committed? And two, are we really going to see charges by the Intelligence Committee or anyone in the federal government of Hillary Rodham Clinton for espionage? What we're looking at here with these emails is, one, retroactive marking, two, who is the sender, and three, what was the knowledge of Hillary Clinton when she was Secretary of State of that being sent to her and the content of those materials? Was national security breached? And was there any criminal action? It's very rare that charges are brought against anyone historically for something like this. I don't think we're going to see those charges, and I don't think this is going to prevent her from being on that platform for the Democrats or even becoming president.
Leslie, I'll let you respond to this, but I want to toss it to Matt first. Does it even take criminality? Does it even take it to go a lot further to hurt her more in her campaign for the Democratic nomination, and two, the presidency? Because people already don't trust her. Will it take that much more for the voter to turn against her?
That's the right question. I mean, let's face it, this was irresponsible and reckless at a very minimum. It's potentially criminal and potentially career-ending. We're going to find out about those two pieces. But the fact is, the polls and the American people, and by the way, folks that aren't Republicans are already rendering their conclusion on this whole messy affair. And independents now no longer think she's honest and trustworthy. That is a killer blow for anybody who wants to be president. Look, you can be strong within your own party, but you're going to have to pull over some folks in the other party, and you're going to have to pull over a majority of the middle. She's losing the middle because they don't think she's credible. And it's not just that she might be lying about the server and the emails. It's also the fact that she was an incompetent Secretary of State, Benghazi, and finally, that the Clintons think there's a second set of rules, an alternative set of rules for them, which is why she did something so extraordinary with having a server in a bathroom.
And Leslie, people do come to the table with feelings about Bill and Hillary Clinton before this even happened. Can she help herself by stopping making jokes? Because the jokes are falling flat, and they come at a time when you shouldn't be, talking about this in jest, or no.
I agree with you 100% on that. I've always said, you know, there are a couple of things here. I've met Mrs. Clinton a couple of times in person, and if she could just be herself with the media, her poll ratings would go, her approval ratings would go up. If you listen to the way she responded when she met with the Black Lives Matter group, as an example, which she wasn't being political, she wasn't looking for personal gain necessarily, and she was being very transparent. What I think she should have done with Ed was to be honest. I don't think Mrs. Clinton erased that server. I don't think she would know how to. So it would have been very honest for her to say, absolutely not. No. What a ridiculous question. Of course not. She doesn't do that. She doesn't apologize for the recklessness of it. She needs to address it and then move forward. Because she hasn't addressed it, it's hard for some in the middle and on the left to move forward.
We're going to move on, but I'll say she looks like actually Kate McKinnon imitating her on Saturday Night Live. That's how awkward it is at times. Matt and Leslie, stay right there because we have to move on to Donald Trump. 42,000, that is the number of people who have RSVP'd to a Donald Trump rally tonight in Mobile, Alabama. Originally, the campaign booked a site that would have held 500 people. Now it's been moved to a local sports stadium used by the University of South Alabama, and the crowd will be record-breaking. I've done the math. I think this is roughly 20% of the population of Mobile, Alabama. You can't make it up, Blake Berman. He's here with a preview. Blake?
Sounds about right, Dagan. Something in there, most likely. Here's what I can tell you. I spoke with Donald Trump. Was Ted Cruz with 11,000, but that was over at Liberty University, the graduation there that had in a built-in audience. This by far would be the biggest. Dagan?
Thank you so much, Blake. Blake Berman for us in Washington. Back to Matt and Leslie. Matt, people hate politicians, and so they're flocking to Donald Trump, period. Can it last?
Yeah, a lot of folks didn't think it would get this far. There was a poll that came out in a state recently that showed that between Donald Trump, Dr. Ben Carson, and Carly Fiorina, the three of them were the top 3 vote getters of all these 17 candidates. There is a real affinity to the fact that Donald Trump is an outsider and these other candidates who haven't spent one day in elected office. So I think this is a real dynamic that's here to stay.
Leslie, it's almost as if he can say anything he wants, he can do anything he wants, and nothing sticks to him.
It's funny, we used to call Bill Clinton the Teflon guy, but it's true. Donald Trump has contradicted himself. He's gone from pro-choice to pro-life, pro-life to pro-choice to pro-life in a 3-week period, and nobody seems to be fazed by it. But what he does have is the name. I'm sitting here in California where I laughed when Arnold Schwarzenegger said he was going to run for governor. He became our governor. Celebrity goes a long way, and not just in Hollywood. Donald Trump is a celebrity. And people gravitate toward that, and that's the reason, it's the number one reason people vote for somebody is name recognition. I think a lot of people flocked in because of it.
Leslie, I'll end on this with you, but and this is a question. He is running a campaign that nobody has seen before in terms of the use of social media and television, far and above what President Obama was able to do with social media and the young vote. Will politicians, all of them, Democrat and Republican, make a mistake thinking that they can actually take him on in traditional ways?
Well, Donald Trump's not traditional. So, I mean, you can't take him on in a traditional way. He has no problem insulting. He has his own rule book, and there's really no rule in his book. So they're going to have to be very creative, and I think come away from that typical. Yes, well, now he has immigration policy, which a lot of people seem to love, stripping babies of their citizenship when they're born.
But that's where this is going to go. Is that we're going to have a conversation with these 17 candidates on their policy positions, and that's going to be fair game, and that's where all these candidates are going to be judged on what they say about where they want this country to go. And I'm glad it's going there.
We're talking to Maria Bartiromo. He essentially called for a trade war with China. 42,000 people are going to see him tonight. They just don't care at this point. Hey, both of you.
With Made in China on their Trump hats, by the way, inside the label.
It's he's selling them. Thank you, Leslie. It was great to see you and Matt as well. Matt Schlapp, Leslie Marshall. Great conversation. Later this hour, we'll be